Okay, now you can. Yeah, I muted it. Whoopsie. We're good now. Why do I have two chats? What is this? Go away. There we go. There was a ton of text on the screen because I had two different chat things loaded in for some reason. That's what happens when you have to switch back and forth between desktop and laptop. Um, the color of the chat that's remaining is kind of hard to see. Yes. Maybe I can probably fix that real quick. How's the not being dead thing going? You look good. Well, then I guess I'm still not dead. Overlays, edit. There we go. That should be better. Now there's like a little I might have to make it a little bit more opaque, but a little bit of a shadowy background for a backdrop for your chats should make it a little bit better. It takes 2 seconds from the time you send a chat. Oh. That's no bueno. Hello, Raiders. Welcome in. Thanks for the follows, guys. Hey, Drew. How did I? You brought my own Raiders back. Welcome back, Raiders. Welcome in, Drew. How I know it's well, yeah, the chat's now all screwy. Hold on. I'm gonna fix the. I was in the middle of fixing this. We'll do that for now. That's just the best. That's the best that's gonna get. Um, I'll fix that later. You didn't break something, Drew, and if you did, you would have earned it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a raider, but I am guilty by association. Welcome in, Broken. Drew, how did the rest of the stream go? Because last I saw, your stream crashed. It's you can break something, Drew. It seems like you broke your own stream. That's what happened. And then I had to go eat dinner. Your rate announcement has too many emotes. Yeah, Nightbot stops you if you do 6 emotes at one time. Nightbot's a little crazy like that. Twitch kept bonking out. I don't know what it was doing. Yeah, well, I don't know. You had a lot going on. You were trying to lead a cult, Drew. How can you expect to lead a cult and Twitch not try to stop you, you know? Oh, thanks for the bits, DJ Artie. Dude, I had no clue that Drew Gulliver knew you. Holy crap, dude. I can't express enough how much your videos really help me with life. The comic relief is needed. Oh my freaking gosh, I am typing a message to someone at BRB. Starstruck, bro. Hey, man. Sorry if I'm saying too much, but I'm a huge fan. LOL. That wasn't too much, I don't think. I was able to read all of it. Welcome in, DJ Artie. Yeah, I'm a real guy. I'm just a kid. I'm just a guy. Yeah, I guess technically I am the Ben Brainerd. Yeah. I just wanted to. I just learned I have no idea how to participate in a Twitch vote that does not involve typing the answer in chat. LOL. They have those? I didn't know that was a thing. Grip Tata. I'm a real boy. Let me finish going live on TikTok real quick. The Cult of the Lamb integrations can be confusing. Aha. Yeah. Some of the integrations aren't exactly like user friendly. A real Ben Brainerd. Wow. All right, dude. Well, hey, man. My name's Artie. What's up, Artie? It's a pleasure to virtually get to actually say words to a live person. LOL. Yeah, thanks for being here, Artie. Thanks for the follow, Grip Tata. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but feels good. Broken, but how am I going to comment the entire B movie script as a copy pasta of Nightbot is gonna be all restricting like that? I say we boot the bot and unleash the fury. I don't think the B movie script has emojis in it. Now, if you were gonna do the emoji movie, you'd have a hard time. Methinks you would have a hard time. Okay, I'm going live on TikTok, D&D Homebrew Doctor, and Elden Ring. Go live, yay! It does if you make it a copy pasta. The emoji after every word is an important factor. Ah, silly me! I forgot to consider the copy pasta aspect of it. I've never been into copy pasta, so I don't know the basics, you know. So what I'm hearing is that is chat can put the entire B movie script into chat. Thanks for the follow, TrueBot3120. Artie, well, this made my night. She said Ben Brainerd now is like, no fucking way. I might get some sleep soon, but Ben, it's awesome to chat here. I hope you have an awesome stream. Do you have a schedule when you usually stream on Twitch? Yes, I do. And it's on my Twitch schedule. It's new, and I don't fully have it memorized yet, but I'm trying to do Mondays for mealtime. We'd cook dinner on Mondays. Tuesdays is D&D. Wednesdays, Elden Ring. And then Thursdays, probably more Elden Ring. Thanks for the follow, Vorpal Porpoise. That's a fun mouthful of noises and syllables to say. Did you just started streaming? Do you mean as in did this stream just start? Yes. Have I recently become a streamer? Also sort of yes. Okay, with that being said though, wait. Is it usually 1 a.m. Eastern Aw, Drew, Prime sub. Thank you. Um, it's usually I start earlier, like at 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific time is when I start usually. Thank you for giving your prime sub, Drew. I appreciate it. I understand. I'm slightly surprised because I consider you a popular TikToker. You should consider me a professional comedian. I've been doing stand-up comedy for a decade, and I didn't even download TikTok until 2020 when the pandemic hit. Cam, if you just want to come into TikTok and laugh at me, I can't stop you, I guess. Thanks for your content. Thank you for watching it. And that way the void didn't just feel empty to be screaming into. Yeah, if I start early at like 6 or 7 p.m., I can. Somebody homebrewing in here? Yes, sort of. Professional TikToker. I've never considered myself a professional TikToker, Cam. I consider myself a professional comedian. But in order to be a professional TikToker, I feel like I would have to make money from TikTok. But TikTok has done their darndest to make sure nobody ever makes money from them. Just so you know, you have a twin roaming around somewhere in South Carolina. I'll go find him. We'll go find him. Already 8 p.m. my time. Gotcha. Thanks. Well, see you later. Good night, and hope you have an awesome stream. Yeah, this dude is freaking hilarious. If I accidentally ever see you doing stand up, you can use me as the person you call out in the crowd and pick on. LOL. I appreciate that, Artie. I don't really do the whole picking people out of a crowd and picking on them though. I write jokes and then I tell them. Grip Tada, I'm a professional truck driver. Pleasure to meet you. I did that for the army. I delivered the beans and the bullets for the army. It's incredibly sad how TikTok turned creators into infomercial producers just to attempt a living. Yeah. Wait, you do comedy? Nope. Never been funny one time. Hey, thanks for the gifted sub, Salty Nug. To Terrajaneo. I don't know if I said that right, but that's what I'm going with. Oh my god, you're the guy. Go back to sleep. 1 more hour. Yeah. That's a good bit. That's a good bit. Picturing you in a big truck is making me giggle. LOL. Why does it make you giggle, Drew? You gonna transfer to 6E that's apparently going to be released in 2027? I don't know. This is the first I've heard of it. Root of all beers. I barely recognized you. OMG. What, you don't just stand around looking at pictures of me? Okay, so the way that the homebrew doctoring works, if you don't know, Louis C.K. has never been funny one time, and he did comedy, so I'm not sure that's a qualifier. Unfortunately, Louis C.K. is a very good is a very good comedian. Unfortunately. Hell yeah, man. Thank you for your service. I have certain views on the military, but I'll always give respect for the hustle. Dog, you think the people in the military don't have those views? You're out of your mind. Nobody hates the military more than the the service members, dog. You think we wanted to join the military instead of just being able to afford college? Yeah, apparently they're going to try to make a 6th edition for the 50th anniversary. Good on them. If they do, I mean, I guess I'll read it. But the fact that this is the first I've heard about it, and you say it's going to be released in 2027, which is 1 year away. Tough turnaround time for an entire new edition, especially since they literally just released a whole thing. Ben, have you read Dungeon Crawler Carl? Nope. Not yet. Do it, please, for me. I mean, I guess it's on my list of books that look fun, for sure. I hear you, man. I believe it. LOL. Do you still have your CDL? No, because they cost a lot of money to upkeep. It was like $175, I think, like a year just to keep my CDL as my driver's license, and I didn't want to do that. You had a CD? I had a CDL. The audiobook is amazing. 10 out of 10 if you'd rather listen. I would rather listen. Ben, you're awake. It's 1:30 a.m. Get some sleep if you can. Ah, God, I forgot. Time is the same everywhere. Shoes. My clocks are off by 3 hours, guys. It's 1:30 a.m. You don't regret not being able to get in them. And that's, yeah. I mean, I was a lot younger when I first started listening to them. So it's been a long time. Concept. This feels alien. You're not wearing a bucket hat and you're not on YouTube. Had no idea you streamed. I'm newer to the streaming thing, Concept. I did it back in 2020, took some years off for comedy, and then now I'm back. Really? I'm in Tennessee, and the renewal fee was $90 still, though. Damn. Maybe it might have been 75 instead of 175. All I know is that I remember being shocked at how much money I owed just to renew my license. And I wasn't using it. And so I was like, I'd rather just have my Class E. Ben, are you more of an Anakin or Obi-Wan kind of guy? Nah, I'm indifferent. I am indifferent. It's understandable, though, if you're not going to use it. Some of these drivers out here are crazy anyway. True. Love your comedy, dude. What's your favorite game to play? Probably Elden Ring. Probably Elden Ring. We gotta get into this thing that I said I was gonna do. Annie, here to learn 5, sent us some more D&D stuff to do. So let me pull this up. And get it going. Thanks for the follow, Zachi. Meatballs. More meatballs. Where did it go? Is it in here? No. Where did I put it? Oh, thanks for the follow, Tonkatsu Tiger 3. There we go. I found it. Bingo, bango. All right, let us set up. Got it. I'm going to move that. I'll be right with you guys. This is... Oh, thanks for the follow, Concept. Why... Why did it play the audio for that now, but it didn't play on the other screen? I am confusion. Okay, so the way that Homebrew Doctor works is I've spent a lot of time writing out source books for D&D. I know how to do a lot of the technical writing. I'm very good at the writing thing, right? So the way that this works is if you send me $5 and a piece of your homebrew that you want help working on, I will help make it kind of exactly what you're looking for. I can do a lot of the technical writing, make it sound and read right, or a lot of times I can just kind of like help you get the most out of whatever you're looking to get out of your homebrew. If that makes sense. I hope that made sense. I gotta fix my chat. I don't like how it looks like that now. That should fix it. Okay. Chakor. I'm horrible at balancing myself, but working on it slowly. Oh, now it's... Why is the text black now? This house is a prison. Just notice there's a new channel point redeem in the arms of an angel. What that do? I don't know. Why don't you spend money on it? I guess it's not money. It's channel points. I don't know. Why don't you spend channel points on it? The arms of the angel fly away from here. I thought it was fun. Especially if I'm playing Elden Ring and I just die a bit too much. It was written on the tin, huh? You gotta remember, I'm former military. I'm gonna just name it what it is. Can you get things functioning on Beyond and have you considered commissioning that? If so, what would that cost? Ask for and who's committed to writing too many fucking time classes. I can get things functioning on Beyond broken. I've done it before. I can do it again. How much would it cost? I guess it would depend because it is obnoxious. If it's a full subclass, I'd probably have to charge at least like $25 to put a whole subclass on D&D Beyond. Um, because that website is kind of obnoxious, especially if you want it to have all the quick actions, so that all of the stuff that does update when you level up and stuff. I can get it to do all of that, but it'd be $25 per subclass. I'm not gonna do it for a bunch of subclasses. It's incredibly cheap. I thought like a cool 100. Hey, listen. I mean, I'm willing to change my price to at least $25. I'm not going to stop you from giving me a tip. But I kind of enjoy doing it, so. Let's throw on. Let's get a little background music going. Let's go with some maybe video game lo-fi. We gotta open our audio MIDI. So that you guys can hear it. There we go. All right, let's get into this. Let's see what you have for us today, Annie. Your shoelaces are tied together, reducing your movement speed to 10 feet. Pretty straightforward. Question. Are you then allowed to benefit from effects that would raise your speed? LDC fourth unless you jump. I mean, I feel like you can still jump, but jumps in D&D are pretty restricted, so I don't know how that's gonna help you all that much, honestly. But it's a good thought. I feel like the answer would have to be no. Okay. I was having trouble looking for a bright side to this one. Why do you need a bright side? LDC. I was thinking like a series of small forward bunny hops. Shouldn't have to say base speed if other speeds could boost it. Technically, there is no such thing as base speed. Base speed is just called speed. So technically, this wouldn't even say movement. This would just say speed. Well, actually, this would probably say... Thanks for the follow, Spano Loki. This would probably say, grammatically, your speed is 10 feet. There are others... there are other negative things that would probably go with this. Disadvantage on dexterity saving throws is likely. I'm not seeing a way for a positive to come out of this one. But I also don't think it's... Oh, let me offer this then, Annie. There's no positive, but you can use an action on your turn to untie your shoes. So you're just kind of stuck with this until you want to spend an action to fix it. Take your shoes off. You could take your shoes off. You can spend. You can use an action on your turn to untie your shoes. You want to say untie your shoes or just take your shoes off? They're knotted pretty well. Okay. Okay, hold on one sec. I'm gonna close the office door. But then, do we need a line about terrain? No. You could also have it say you fall prone if you move more than 10 feet instead. Makes it more trippy. Oh, it was in... Okay. This seems... Fool the cube 60-60. For tied shoelaces, I'd make them roll dex saves every 5 feet of movement and face plant on a fail or for one on a fail for 1 damage and 2 psychic for being stupid enough to make the attempt. That's silly. I like that. I would recommend in this particular case... keeping it like this, just because you have 100 meatballs, and the simpler each one is, the better it's going to be in the long run. Let that be up to the DM. There you go. Moving on to number 21. The meatball you ate was radioactive. You grow an extra eye? I think it's... You gain true sight up to 60 feet. Pretty straightforward. came from TikTok. So cool just to just run into you, man. Appreciate that. Panini 1155. I always like the like it when people say it's cool to run into me, as if like it's like I'm not just available all the time online. Like I don't have just. It's funny to me. I don't know why, but it is. This is the simplest. This is the simplest is best section of the meatball list. LOL. No, I mean simpler is better when you're doing a lot of stuff. Also, atomic sorcery. Tied shoes equals proficiency in slapstick is very funny, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. If the Three Stooges had a D&D subclass, that'd be fantastic. We should build that. The Three Stooges subclass. I mean, they'd be a bard subclass for sure, right? Yeah, bard college of slapstick. Barbarian. Panini. In the traffic of the internet, it's always nice to see someone on the same street accidentally, if that makes sense. That actually does make perfect sense, actually. All right, let's move on. Number 22. You are convinced you have been turned into a frog. You gain the equivalent of the jump spell because you no longer believe humans can't do that. Bro, I need your book for my Eberron game. Manufacturing is my world's whole thing. Keeper of Teeth, my book is available. It isn't done, but it's available on my website. It's benbrainerd.com. It's $15, and you get the updates for free as they come in. Okay, so like we've talked about before, Annie. First of all, very silly. Love it. But you don't get to decide for a player how/why the effect actually like takes place. If I was playing Thylo Match would not think humans can't do that. Zito can't. Zito would. Thylo would look at it much more of like a, I bet, like scientifical research required. Let's see. Panini, the lower you're int, the higher you jump. Really good, but not for this. I think that is getting into something that could be like its own thing. Like a series of meatballs here anywhere. Like the lower one of your stats is, the better you have on some ability. You gain the equivalent of the jump spell. You homebrewing or reviewing homebrew? I am reviewing homebrew, Dark Elf. If you type... Ooh, what's the command? Exclamation point homebrew. Is that what my command is? Oh, it's exclamation point brew. If you want Ben to read / fix your D&D homebrew, tip him $5 on his Twitch page, Venmo, or Cash App, then upload your homebrew text to a Google Doc and send him the link in a whisper. A full subclass homebrew doctoring will cost $10 instead. Is that straightforward, Dark Elf? I do a lot of technical writing. I've written a few source books for D&D, so I know how to do like the technical writing of it. And I think I'm pretty good at like helping people get the most out of what they're trying to achieve with their homebrew. So this is a thing where I want to work with you, not like I don't want to make fun of anything for you. And if you're sitting there going, I don't want it to be balanced, I just want to be silly, great. I won't balance it. As Broken said, the language kind of implies that you can cast it, not that you're under its effects. So looking at the effects of the jump spell, it literally just says the creature's jump distance is tripled until the spell ends. So we can just say your jump distance is tripled. Brain Bennard? That's me. Not a radioactive meatball. Neat. So is it exclusively limited to specifically D&D, and is that specifically 5e? If you want my technical writing prowess, D&D 5e or what, D&D 2024 are the two that I know the most as far as like the technical writing goes. If you just want like my ideas on how to clean stuff up or like get the most out of something, I can give you like ideas. But D&D 5e and D&D 2024 are the two that I know the best. I have only dabbled in other systems, so take that with a grain of salt. Annie, I think a very funny negative to this would be I'm waiting to see the effect that causes one to be teleported to IKEA. I'm gonna type a very silly negative to this, Annie. You let me know if you want to keep it or not. Dark Elf. And last question, is that a just a night thing or a I can send it and you'll get it at a later date thing? Dark Elf, you can send it. I have a list in my notes. So if you spend the money now, I'll put your name on the list, and that way I can check it to make sure that I'm not like forgetting or skipping anybody. I want to do these. I'll probably do these once a week on Monday nights after I cook dinner. So that way you can make sure that you're like available, or if not, you paid money, we'll figure it out. Where did I put it? I can plan for next week. Perfect. I should pin that link. There it is. Pin. Right now, Panini, you speak the word ribbit before and after every sentence. It's so silly. It's so silly. I fucking love silly, dude. Broken Gamer, how are you doing tonight, Buzz? Good to see you. I'm doing good. Glad to hear you're doing well. I'm doing well myself. Dark Elf, we actually still have. Someone spent $5. ASCII Basky spent $5 donation just to the house. And nobody has claimed it yet. So if you have a homebrew, ASCII Basky has you covered. Thanks for the follow, Cross Razvan. Okay. We'll do croaks and ribbits because some people are going to have an easier time ribbiting. It's not a money issue. It's an issue of putting it on Google Doc right now while I'm at work. Totally fair. Max Nevermar. But you no longer have the ability to speak common. It'll be fun. That is sort of implied here. You can only speak in croaks and ribbits. It means you can't speak common. What are we working on? Sean, we are doing some homebrew doctoring. So these are some D&D homebrew ideas that people have sent to me, and I'm helping them fix it. Your sense of smell becomes enhanced. You can detect the presence of hidden creatures within 30 feet, provided they have a scent. While you might not know their exact location, they cannot surprise you. If you are concentrating on a spell and a strong new scent enters the area, like a vial of perfume breaking or a torch being lit, you must immediately make a Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration. Okay. So the first problem that I see with this is that there is no precedent in D&D for strong scent. So the biggest issue is going to be saying, like, if you are concentrating on a spell and a strong new scent enters the area, there's no definition on what does or does not constitute being a strong new scent. And while you could leave that up to the GM, it's best to have concrete, because the rules are there to make sure everybody's on the same page. Roll 3. Have you ever hosted a game? Yes, in person at my house. If you're asking if I've ever hosted a game on Twitch, I have not. I play every Tuesday. I do stream every Tuesday. I stream D&D every Tuesday. I think I wanted to convey distraction via smell. Yes, which makes I like the idea is there, but there's just no precedent for that in D&D. There's really also no precedent for distraction. Playing once a week like that, how long is a game? I think we stream for 4 hours at a time. Maybe phrasing from poisons, if you want a certain effect. There should be. Well, there maybe used to be, Annie. Panini, a strong scent must be a variable for it to be detected. Yes. Stinking cloud, sure. Raw, how many weeks till you finish? Ooh. I don't know. Annie, do you know how many weeks we have left? Stinking cloud exists, sure, atomic sorcery. But that would kind of like narrow this whole thing down to just if Stinking Cloud is cast. We play until June. Is fainting not a thing in 5e? Technically not fainting, but you can be knocked unconscious. Thanks for the follow, Owo the Odd Cat. Or is it just the Odd Cat? In 3E, it was basically just makes you flat-footed. You can apply disadvantage. Yeah, so you can be knocked unconscious, but the problem isn't so much like what happens to you when you smell a strong odor. It's more so like what is a strong odor. Oh, fainting, like a fake attack to open up for an attack. Yeah, so that does exist, but it's specifically like it's a move that only a few subclasses can do. I think the champion fighter gets a feint attack. There might be a couple others that get a feint attack. The closest you could do to a feint without specifically having the feint attack is if there's an optional rule. What is feinting if not a distraction? A misdirect, probably. Because it's not necessarily that I'm distracted by the fake. It's that you faked me out. A distraction would be a lot more like using an illusion to make the sound of a Tarrasque behind me. That would distract me. But that's up to your GM. And with my allergies, it's a strong sense that I would have disadvantage on the concentration checks and perception checks. Okay. What is a concentration check if not a possible distraction? Well, distraction isn't necessarily the word that I would use, but concentration check is like if you get bonked on the head really hard, do you still maintain concentration on the spell that you're concentrating on? It's not that you're distracted by getting bonked on the head. It's that you've been bonked on the head. Let me try something here, Annie. Your sense of smell becomes enhanced. You gain advantage. Character passes Stinking Cloud every few minutes that only reaches 5 feet around your posterior for 6 seconds until passing Constitution saving throws. Maybe the spell. You gain advantage on perception checks that involve your sense of smell. Love your state videos, Mr. Ben. Appreciate that, Mad Prophet Draco 96. Depending on the smell, a constitution check may be necessary. Yeah, Mama Bear, that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. But unfortunately, there is no precedent for like what is and what is not a strong smell in D&D. There's really no precedent for anything that has a smell other than like maybe the spell Stinking Cloud, which is why I had an idea and I'm just trying to figure out a way to write it. Gain advantage on perception checks that involve your sense of smell. Well, how does someone start D&D? Is there a public tabletop session for people to get introduced to it? Startplaying.com. I know that sounds like a joke, but startplaying.com. Smell is such a niche thing. Yeah. But I have an idea here. You gain advantage on perception checks that require smell. Detect the presence of hidden creatures within 30 feet, provided they have a scent. Can you change it to smell mana? don't think mana... I know what you're saying, but I don't think mana... I don't think they use mana in 5e, do they? That's not what it's called. They're just called spell slots. You can advantage on perception checks that require spell. Also, if you were to do that, the whole world is very magical. Panini, so like you would just smell everything. Any creature within 30 feet of you cannot benefit from it takes a smell slot. That got a chuckle. That got a chuckle. Any creature within 30 feet of you cannot benefit from the invisible condition. Dark Elf. I also find you can check out your local game store that sells D&D and see if they ever have people playing D&D in the store. If they do, but none are welcoming new players to their campaign, you could still at least network. True. Amber, what's up, old friend? The profile photo is too small. I cannot see which Amber this is, but hello, how are you? I concur with Ben. Start playing online. It will walk you through setting up everything and helps you along the way until you get confident enough to fly without it. Oh, no. There's a website called startplaying.com. Startplaying.com, it allows you just to join D&D tables that are run by real people. Annie, we wrote one of these... Oh, shoot, is this wild magic? Sort of, Stevie. These are all effects of meatballs that part of a D&D thing. And if you eat one of these meatballs, there's a D100 table of random stuff that could happen to you. Annie, we wrote one of the meatballs that included the ability that somebody couldn't gain benefits of the invisible condition over you. Ooh, homebrewing, are we? Is this for the crafting system you are making? It is not, Jake Astounding. This is the homebrew doctor. So this is somebody else's homebrew. They gave me a tip and they sent me their homebrew, and I'm just helping them clean it up and fix it. If you can find it, Annie, please do. But I think we used, fairy fire as the basis for the semantics of it. Fairy Fire 2024 has a better, because they made invisible a condition. Stevie, writing table is my favorite part of D&D. Nice. If you want to help out, Stevie, you can hop on over to YouTube or Twitch. That'll just make it a lot easier for you to be part of the conversation. Still so crazy to me that you're into D&D. Always knew you as the state guy. Multifaceted, brother. Your hair suddenly starts to glow. You can't benefit from the invisible condition, and attack rolls against you have advantage. Oh, sweet meatballs mayhem. We are now on YouTube. Oh, welcome in. What did I type in? There we go. Yeah, okay. I had it right. Any creature within 30 feet of you cannot benefit from the invisible condition against you. No, that's the right one, Annie. Ghouls and troglodytes come to mind as having scent-type powers. Do they? I thought those were just old-timey insults. Oh, stench. Okay. So what I am about to write here kind of gets into that. There's just been so long since I played. I'm definitely gonna get back into it. Never been a player though. You were never a player, Panini? That's crazy. Let's do if. It's not a whole lot of if statements. I'm a third edition D&D-er, been DMing for 26 years now. Isn't that wild to think about, Dark Elf? Just how long this shit's been going on. Mama Bear. Outside of ghosts, pretty much anything would have a scent. I feel like Ghostbusters proved that even ghosts have scents. Steve-O. I was a DM for 6 years before I was a player. That's wild. Our spell scrolls were replaced by unique recipes. Maybe if this was a more all-inclusive thing. Small town decided to take the weight of it. Thank you for your service. Yeah, atomic sorcery. The thing with that, you've been poisoned. It's not even that like anybody is suffering. It's only technically people are suffering from a bad spell or a bad scent because it's called stench. Annie, what we're looking at DCs for? What level are these? Are these characters? They're like level 15. Level 19. Okay. We'll go DC 17. Jake is sounding. Favorite magic item is the bag of holding. Any favorites here? 19 DC a billion. The only thing better than a bag of holding is another bag of holding inside of that bag of holding, and it's open. There's a magic item. Yeah, the dust of sneezing and choking. Found in a small container, this powder resembles dust of disappearance and identified reveals to be such. There is enough for it. As a utilized action, you can throw the dust into the air, forcing yourself and every creature in a 30-foot emanation originating from you to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Constructs, elemental, oozes, plants, and undead. On a failed save, a creature begins sneezing uncontrollably. It has the incapacitated condition and is suffocating. The creature repeats the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the condition on itself on a success. The effect also ends on any creature targeted by a lesser restoration spell. So let's go with that. Can we just link to it? I would say no. Because of all of the other stuff that it does. The incapacitated I don't want to give it suffocating because they could just straight die from that. Is it the D&D thing, correct? Can someone fill me in? I want to know more. Played it once IRL and just been playing Baldur's Gate because I don't know any DMs anymore. Welcome in, Scooter Jones. Yes, this is D&D. There's like, I don't know, 80 or 90 different D&D fans in my chats right now, so I'm sure any one of them would be excited to tell you more about D&D. I would, but I'm trying to focus a bit on doing this part of it. We don't need stuff. You have the incapacitated condition until the until you start of your next turn, sort of. You have the incapacitated condition until I'm trying to find the right way to until within 30 feet of another creature. Hi, stream. Everyone say hi, stream. Howdy. Put a pin in this one. I'm almost there. I was just trying to find the right way to write this. Maybe we can revisit and write this sentence better. If you don't already follow Stream, you should go follow Stream. She's fantastic. She's very funny and a delight. And also, she went to Harvard. Huh. Say what you're thinking of conveying. We can likely help. I would hope so. You have the incapacitated condition until you are no longer within 30 feet of another creature. The cooking was good. I made some honey garlic chicken fried rice, and it came out fantastic. So the thing the idea that I'm conveying with this sentence, you have the incapacitated condition until you are no longer within 30 feet of another creature. The direction should be flipped, technically. It should say something, the writing of this should be something about, like, every other creature must end their turn more than 30 feet away from you. Smells can linger, so would it be 30 feet from the creature or the smell? In this case, we're just saying that, just to make it easier, because there isn't much of a precedence for scents, S-C-E-N-T-S, in D&D. What we're trying to convey is that all creatures have a scent, and your nose is so strong that any creature that ends a turn close enough to you is just gonna make your nose itch. I think this is wrong. This should be... There we go. Until you are at least 30 feet from the nearest creature. Technical writing, the precedent isn't really like that. It's a very peculiar and specific way that you're supposed to kind of write this sentence, and my brain is not handing me the answer. It's only handing me that I know that I've not. Vanador, in-cap condition while within 30 feet of another creature is the... I think that's the closest. Sal Mizrael, can we talk about the tripled jump distance on being not actually turned into a frog? I like that you saw that, and I also think that that was part of the author of this Homebrew's idea. You go with the keen hearing and smell route. Maybe the effect could be disadvantaged on perception checks that rely on smell. Too simple. I like where your head's at, though, Jake, but it's too simple. We'll come back to that one. 24. Your arms become incredibly rubbery. Your reach for melee attacks increases by 5 feet. However, you have disadvantage on dexterity sleight of hand checks. You could change it to enemy creature. Nah. If you have a friendly creature, he smells too. Let me see. Oh. "24" had the term hot dog fingers in it, but then I chickened out because I was worried that something in Urban Dictionary is. Idea being that you should be familiar with allied sense. Sure. I don't think there's really allies in this. This is like a battle royale scenario, though. Would dead creatures have a scent? It'd be easier if we ignored that. Okay. I was looking up to see. It's not a PvP? Oh. Well, up to you, Annie. Although I do get the idea that you'd prefer, that you'd prefer your allies to be a problem. So, okay. Your reach for melee attacks increases by 5 feet. The term reach is already... It's already like it's already a thing that really only applies to melee attacks. Melee attacks and like picking something up. So you could probably get rid of 4 melee attacks and just say your reach increases by 5 feet. However, you have disadvantage on dexterity sleight of hand checks. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Because your fingers are hot dogs. Makes sense. That makes sense. Number 25. Your body flickers slightly and you gain the ability to transpose yourself. Transpose like music. As a bonus action, you can swap places with a creature you can see within 30 feet. If the creature is unwilling, it must succeed in a charisma saving throw, DC 15, to resist the effect. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until the start of your next turn. That's good. I don't think switcheroo is an official spell in D&D. It's not Wizard of the Coast, but I definitely have that spell. In 2024, standardization bonus action is capitalized, but no. Yeah. We can get rid of this sentence and just add the phrase once per turn. Once per turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to swap places with a creature that you can see within 30 feet of you, of yourself, of you. Almost like casting Blink on an enemy, except it has no control over the jump. We don't really need the phrase if the creature is unwilling. We'll just act as if all creatures are unwilling, but if a creature is willing, they can choose to fail the save. Target creature must succeed on a charisma saving throw. I would also say, Annie, raise this DC to at least 15 or at least 17 if they're going to be level 19 characters. On a DC. Oh, wait. No, I feel like you had the right. I think that's correct, actually, is how you had it. What's this list for? Wild magic? Close. These are magic meatballs that players can eat during the course of like an arena game. The wild part is the taste. We also make the DC charisma plus prompt plus. God, I wish I had a longer version of that. I would love for that to just be a 30-second thing. Might want to add that the save can be voluntarily failed. Yes. Thank you, Vanador. Fractally weird. DC is charisma plus prof plus 8. That would be good if we were making this a spell. But this is more so like you gain the ability to just kind of do this. And so like if a barbarian were to get this ability, he doesn't have a spell save DC, so we're just giving it a flat DC to make it simpler. That was meant to be more timely to the wild part is it taste. We don't want to write to resist the effect. We'll just write the target creature must succeed on a charisma saving throw or instantly swap places with you. A willing creature can choose to fail this saving throw. If those of you on TikTok want to be a bit more involved in the discussion, you can hop on to YouTube or Twitch, because the conversation is a bit easier to be had with, especially with the person who is the author of this homebrew. But great question, Danny. Where's number 27 and 28? Should it say once on each of your turns? Or is that more nitpicky than you want? That is the level of nitpick that I am looking for, Jake. Although, I believe once per turn is enough. Thanks for the follow, Inflicted Wounds. Appreciate that. Dark Elf. So to the author of this homebrew idea, is it assumed the meatballs stay fresh until eaten because they're magic, or nah? Because that would be funny, and fantasy magic items sometimes are a little ridiculous. Here to Learn 5, aka Annie, is the author of this homebrew, Dark Elf. And she does like crazy ideas like that. However, as she says now, each stage is only 4 rounds. So it just, a meatball going bad that fast doesn't really like make a ton of sense. And I know this is a game with like dragons and magic and meatballs, but nah, man. Jake, this is absolutely my jam. I love magic meatballs. That's why I go to IKEA. Verse 26. Your sense of taste becomes hyper evolved and loud. If you take damage, you must describe it in food terms. Example, that longsword is a sharp metallic finish with notes of copper and pain. If you don't roleplay the critique after taking damage, you take an additional 2d6 psychic damage. Dark Elf, it is a consumable magic item, but it's part of she's making and I don't even know what you call it. It's like a tournament, an arena, some sort of thing. So it's within the context and the confines of that. It's a collaborative tournament. Now, if these were just magic meatballs that are spread across the universe, like just naturally in D&D, yeah. Sometimes I'd make my players roll Constitution saving throws to see if they throw up. Or just have food poisoning. Okay, Annie. Usually, I would be very against things that require vague role play. However, the addition of, if you do not roleplay the critique after taking damage, you take an additional 2d6 psychic damage, does make it better for me. Because it does, like, especially with the wording that there is, it does kind of like leave the idea that like all you have to do is try and you don't get the 2d6 psychic damage. Jake, sometimes you read Homebrew and it's nearly indistinguishable from standard WotC content. Other times you look at it and go, yup, that's some Homebrew. That's why I'm here, Jake. To help make it look like it's written right. Potluck of death. Hypothetically, people outside the tourney in the world could get their hands on them, though. Food for thought. Broken. Dragons, I can believe. Ghouls and vampires, absolutely. A tent that's bigger on the inside and appears at the wave of a hand, basically mandatory. Instantly spoiling meatballs, this is where we as a community draw the line. Now you get it. I wanted the consequences to be, quote, you gain a vague sense of disappointment, but I went with something more concrete. That's good. I don't know if I like and loud, because that doesn't make a ton of sense. In context here, your sense of taste becomes hyper evolved and loud. Just makes it sound like you're about to become a menace to everybody around you with misophonia. And you feel magically compelled to share your thought. To share your food reviews. Magically compelled to Yelp your food reviews. We'll keep Yelp if you want to put Yelp. Meatball of obnoxious critique causes eater to snobbishly descriptify the damage you take. The sentence meatball of obnoxious critique is great. Jake, I may say compelled to enthusiastically dictate your review of the damage's sensation. No if, only when. When you take damage, you must describe I don't like describe it in food terms. Hello, welcome in, Raiders. Wow, that's a loud one. Thanks for the follow, Cactus Corvid. Welcome in, Sachi. How are things going? How was stream? Did you have a good time? Are you winning, son? Welcome in, Raiders. Hi, my name is Ben Brainerd. I'm a nationally touring stand-up comedian who has recently begun Twitch streaming. Right now we're doing some D&D. We are doing some D&D stuff. We are doing homebrew doctoring. So people send me their D&D homebrew and then like $5, and then I help fix it. I write it technically correct. I help them get the most out of it that I can. My hands hurt from Hades. The place or the game? Vanador. When you take damage or upon taking damage? When. The game. I think I've heard of this game. Does it require hands? Must equip hands. Blatz. RP good or take damage is such a bad DM move. You should be encouraging fun, not holding it ransom. Usually I agree with you, Blatz. But in this case, I think it's fine simply because This is a D100 table of magic meatball effects that you can simply choose to not eat. And it doesn't need to be good RP. You just have to try.
Hit it on.
What do you want from me? Louis, because of course. Here we go. Yeah, none of this is required unless you're willing to eat a meatball. Yep. For example, that longsword has a sharp metallic finish with notes of copper and pain. When you say, you must describe how it tastes, or you take an additional 2d6 psychic damage. Take an additional 2d6 psychic damage. Get rid of that there. Bang, bang. Boom. Just like that. All cleaned up. I must describe it like a snobby food critic would. I don't want to put like all. I don't want to. I would recommend forcing your players to do that level of role play here, Zadok. If you're the GM, you can require whatever level you want, of course. But a lot of times when players play D&D, they ain't the best at the role play. They're embarrassed by it. It's hard to get out, you know? We want to encourage the role play, but we don't want to make it too specific or too difficult to be accessible. Well, it's supposed to be a D100 since it's missing at least 27, 28. It's a D98. LOL. Vanador, apparently, we did number 27 and 28 last time I did this. I asked. 5.0 Tempest. Maybe it's an actual echo off the wall next to you, only when you're slightly louder. That could be it, Tempest. This next one is messed up. All right, let's get into it. Fire Swarm. I'm with you on embarrassment. I just did my first campaign today, and I had to roleplay as a gnome bard, and it was crazy, but I had fun. I'm glad you had fun, James. Jake. So 27, 28. Apparently, Jake. Yeah, okay. You type. Yep. Got it. Flies swarm from your mouth each time you speak. If you yell, even more fly out at a higher velocity. If you close your mouth, you can feel them crawling and buzzing inside, and some will try to exit through your nose. You can hear them buzzing in your sinuses. Honestly, it's probably best to just keep your mouth open until the end of the stage. I genuinely hate this one, and I am truly sorry. All your HP and spell slots are restored. This is the Green Mile. You've just made the Green Mile effect. Okay, I get it. I'm pretty sure he wasn't comfortable at any point of that scene. Fair point, T Sigma. Okay. I got it. I got it. I got it. You don't want. I'm assuming the effects of the meatballs have a specified duration. Yes. Every round in this tournament is 4 rounds, Jake. So every meatball effect ends at the end of the round. It's a great movie, Dark Elf. You should watch it. It's a great movie. Okay. An endless swarm of flies begin forming in your mouth. Begins forming in your mouth. Crawling in my skin, these bugs, they do now eat me. Thistle, dude, I've been trying to homebrew a mech class for a sci-fi campaign. I'm like 5 days deep, I swear to God. Well, Thistle, if you hop over to my YouTube or my Twitch, I do homebrew doctoring. So you pay me. Well, if it's a full class, I would need like $10 or $15. But what I do is I sit and I help people develop their ideas and their homebrews, and I make it sound correct. It is that just reading/hearing the effects sucks so hard that you deserve an apology and a gift from the author. Oh. In that case, if the goal is incredibly silly, make it incredibly silly. I appreciate that resource, but this campaign is a passion project, and I'd rather finish it out. Absolutely, Thistle. I love that. Are we all procrastinating homebrew for our campaign? Glad I'm not. Glad I'm not the only one staring at blank docs. For a moment, I thought this was a table for a 31-sided die, and I got confused. Question: do you play MTG? If so, who's your commander? I do not play MTG. What are we rolling for? Sandwich. To be honest, it feels like reading a Dungeon Crawler Dungeon Crawl Classics module. I don't think I've read a Dungeon Crawl Classics module, but I take your word for it. Atomic Sorcery. All right, number 30. You begin to float 1 foot above the ground. You ignore difficult terrain caused by ground effects. However, stopping is hard. If you move more than 20 feet in a straight line, you must succeed on a DC 12 dexterity saving throw or drift an additional 10 feet in that direction at the end of your turn. Definitely need to adjust the saving throw. You don't need to put the cause of difficult terrain. Because the point of levitating is that you don't have to touch the ground. Let me look up. Let me look something up. Jake, since the stage designer is here, will difficult terrain be included in the meatball room? Annie, that's a question for you. Will difficult terrain be included in the meatball room? Natively for that stage, there will not be difficult terrain. However, some meatballs cause terrain changes. So there is a chance for it to happen. Fool the Cube, I'm into this, but I gotta try to get sleep and maybe wake up later. Good night, folks. And the real Ben Brainerd, been fun. Good night, Fool the Cube. If something hits you, do you go flying? I think that would be a bit too complicated of a mechanic to put into this, DD. If not, this could easily be become a reduced gravity pinball round effect. Jake, that's kind of where I'm leaning. This isn't so much stopping is hard. I think just direction is difficult. Is there something in D&D that already kind of like moves only in a straight line? could base the effect on one of the anti-gravity spells for the details. Can you name one of those anti-gravity spells, user? You really don't need to ignore difficult terrain here either, because you're already floating a foot above the ground. I feel like you should be able to fail the save if you want to gain extra movement. Unfortunately, Annie, technically, if that was the end of your turn, like if you, or that was you used all the movement, and then you would have 0 movement left, and you have to use it, then make that DC save. Technically, that extra 10 feet wouldn't even happen until your following turn. Its movement is a very peculiar thing in D&D. I guess if it's forced movement, it's different. If they're just being sent in a straight line, the repelling grasp invocation is always there. Jake, maybe you could have a float up to your speed in a random direction unless you bump into a creature object, in which case you bounce away without provoking opportunity attacks. I was thinking something similar to that, Jake, but not so much random. Something like, you can only move when you move move in a straight line. Straight line. And let's do you can float up to 30 feet in a straight line in a direction. Thanks for the follow, Lakota Outlaw 26, of your choice. Of your choice. Stop when you run into a creature or object your size or larger. Yes. The precedent for the language on that. I follow you on Facebook and I love all your D&D content. I appreciate that, Lakota. Should it not be your move speed instead? No, T Sigma, because you're not the one that's making you float. And the point of this meatball is that you don't really have control over it. So it's not your movement speed anymore. When you move on your turn, you must move your entire speed in a straight line. Could enhance that wording. That's not bad, Jake. Can I be part of your D&D games at some point? Would love the opportunity to play with your party. Well, right now, Lakota, the only D&D games that I'm part of are not my games. I am simply a player at the table. What is this? I feel alarmed. You shouldn't feel alarmed, Sarah. This is just D&D. I'm trying to make it so that technically the end of your turn does not mean you've stopped floating in that direction. On your turn, you can float in a straight line in a direction of your choice until you strike a solid surface or another creature. You float up to 30 feet on each of your turns. It's kind of giving me Smash Bros. If the devs were stoned when they were making the drops. The phrase, until you strike a solid surface or another creature, does kind of imply that you don't stop until those conditions are met. While floating in this way, you continue to float There it is. You've got to let them bounce off creatures like pinball. Lakota, I'm also a dungeon master for a homebrewed game, Ashes of the Old World, a post-apocalyptic D&D that is very much Mad Max, Dune, and Fallout inspired, set in a very dystopian world where humanity has suffered a fall, and over the last 500 years since, humanity has had the opportunity to redeem themselves and have failed until this new adventuring party showed up for another chance at redemption from the architects. Will they succeed or be plunged further into the waste? Let's hope they are plunged. And if you're okay with that, we can end it there. Otherwise, we can add in. Oops. Makes me kind of want to design a frictionless level where damage are replaced with feet moved. You try and slam monsters back into holding cells like some type of pool game. Damage replaced by feet moved. Atomic sorcery. You can look up the ram attack, which I think deer have, or reckless charge, perhaps, from like Minotaur. They have something similar-ish. Crazy idea. Add a feat trait that lets you roll on the table with advantage, but disadvantage 10% chance. I don't know what you mean by that. Purity of chaos. You like this? Okay, good. This, if you're curious, Annie, this is the fling attack from a kraken. Okay, 31. You grow a tail that is an extension of your spine. At the end of the tail, you grow a second, mostly non-sentient head. Until the end of the stage, it either unleashes a string of vicious insults at you or just yaps ad nauseum. Your choice. You gain disadvantage on intelligence-based saves and advantage on perception checks based on sight. I see what she's going for. I think it's much funnier if you do not have a choice. Also, there's no precedent for something that's mostly non-sentient. Unfortunately, that description would be more put upon the GM to describe it like that. I would say instead, you grow. Also, you shouldn't say second, just in case somebody already has two. You grow a head with limited sentience. Until the end of the stage, we would get rid of until the end of the stage, and we would just put while, because until the end of the stage is already stated in the rules of the game. An additional head? What if you don't have a head? Jake, I'd swap to intelligence saving throws. There's not other intelligence-based saves. Probably. Probably more of like you have disadvantage on intelligence checks and saves. Would it have a specific int, wisdom, and charisma score? Maybe one each. Probably not necessary, Dark Elf. If the only thing this head does is yap, while the head exists, table in a table, roll each round to figure out what the head does and determine the effect. While the head exists, it speaks constantly. Roll. I ask because limited sentience is definitely referring to a mechanical gray area. The reason it's okay in this case, Dark Elf, is because this is still part of the narrative description, not the mechanical explanation. So you can say limited sentience, and it doesn't really mean anything until the mechanical explanation says what that truly means in effect. Maybe so that the tail falls off the end of each stage. It's already Jake, it's already that's already one of the rules of this, is that any effect of any meatball, if persisting, ends at the end of the stage. So that's like one of the lines that we don't necessarily have to put in the descriptions because it's part of the greater one. I agree. I just wanted to get an idea of how mechanical it is. It seems like the only thing that this head does is babble. Do you want to have the roll take place at the beginning or the end of each of your turns, Annie? At the end. Okay. Do you want this roll to only apply to you or to anybody that can hear it? Like the idea of being annoying to anyone with a certain range. I'd say like 10 feet. Any creature within 10 feet of the head that can hear it speak must roll. Any creature that ends its turn within 10 feet of the head that can hear it speak must roll on the table of babbling. So just as an example for a few things that the table of Babel. There it is. We have to spell it like that though. Yeah, Zadok. Okay, so Jake said vicious mockery in a random creature is pretty hilarious. Yes. Maybe we have vicious mockery. Zadok said string of insults, vicious mockery, taunts an enemy, disadvantage on attacks against anyone but you. Taunt. Which just implies disadvantage on attacks against a creature other than you. Sing, interesting. What does sing do? Shout. Just a straight -10 to stealth checks. Compelled duel, but it's you. Because Ford tells your deepest secrets. I think there's a space for unknown language causing the spell confusion. And you can come up with better names or descriptions for these parts of the table, and if you want me to revisit it and make it right, then absolutely. Dude, Dissonant Whispers would fuck here. I hope she does love them. Okay, we'll move on to third E2. You become inexplicably sexy to every creature in the area. You gain advantage in all charisma-based checks and saves. However, the ground within 5 feet of you becomes difficult terrain because the plants keep trying to hug you. Glacier Spark, how was the food, by the way? Food was fantastic. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Jake, Tasha's hideous laughter after it cracks a joke. So plants are not creatures. Boba 13. I'm sorry, one of my fave comedians doing D&D in Soulsborne. Yeah, I'm doing some D&D homebrew doctoring right now. Someone's given me one of their homebrew creations, and I'm just trying to make it more what they are hoping. Here's my suggestion, Annie. Charisma saves don't necessarily mean the same thing. Charisma saves are things like, void warp. And being inexplicably sexy has no effect on your ability to not be void warped. I would say so charisma in D&D is your relationship with other creatures and also the universe. Sense of self, force of personality, composure. Dark Elf, it says. So when it comes to like saves, many of the charisma saves, now charisma saves can be, it's mostly like if your relationship with the universe is about to be forcibly changed, that's a charisma save, because your charisma is your relationship with the universe as it is. So like void warp is forcibly changing your relationship with the universe around you, which is why it is a charisma save. Wisdom saves are things that you think are happening but aren't actually happening. And intelligence saves are for brain. Banishment, yeah, Boba says banishment is a charisma save because it's actually. Sorry, my internet just disconnected. Oh, are you back? Did you miss all of that? I'm on my phone, but I missed that explanation. Okay, so charisma is a lot more like your actual relationship with the universe around you. And so, like, when you, like, wisdom saves by comparison are to protect against effects that you think are happening but aren't actually happening. Charisma saves are for effects that are forcibly changing your relationship with the universe around you. So, like, void warp is actually happening. You are actually being forcibly moved from one place to another place within the universe. And that's why it's a charisma save. And as Boba13 said in chat, banishment is also a charisma saving throw because it is forcibly altering your relationship with the universe that you are in. If it wasn't actually happening to you, you just thought it was, that would be a wisdom saving throw. And if it hurts your brain, that's an intelligence saving throw. Charisma checks are a lot more like what charisma is as we understand it as people. Your relationship and how other people see you. So becoming inexplicably sexy, I think, Dark Elf. I wish I could better understand the design theory behind 5e. It's difficult to understand and navigate because there's so many legacy concepts that are out of their old context, and that throws me off of how everything is supposed to fit together. The way that I learned all of that, Dark Elf, honestly, is I read basically every single spell that required an intelligence save, a wisdom save, and a charisma save. I read all of those, and I made notes about like what the innate differences were, and like why one required this and one required the other. And that's how I've come to understand that concept better. Oh, what's the word? Intimidation. Could it be a con save because it's a physical compulsion? No. Con saves are just like physical body saves. Like, I ate poison. Anything that's more of a compulsion would be a wisdom save. Wiz works for what? How about that? The reason I didn't go with living creatures, Jake, is because undead and like constructs would be left out of that, and it's much funnier if the zombies think you're hot too. Petition to move this ability, number 32, up to become number 69. Annie? Annie says she will consider it, Jake. You become inexplicably irritating to every creature in the arena. You gain disadvantage in all charisma-based checks and saves, and any creature within 10 feet enters rage, whether they usually have the ability to do so or not. So we can just copy paste this and flip this around. Good night, Glacial. It's good. I would say this part, any creature within 10 feet enters rage. This part would require a wisdom saving throw from those creatures. I would do strength-based attacks are made at advantage instead. You make people want to hit stuff. So my suggestion... My suggestion would be more so like what D&D's precedent. Forcing other creatures to enter rage is very funny. And I like the idea. But it might genuinely end up, especially if you're fighting any spellcasters. If I'm a wizard and I find you inexplicably irritating, I'm going to cast Fireball. I'm not going to punch you. But in the case that you are forcing me to enter rage, suddenly I can't cast spells anymore because that's part of rage, is that I cannot cast spells. So I would say And if that's the effect that you're going for, Annie, absolutely. Personally, I think that's hilarious. So I'm going to give you two options for this one. The fantasy breaks when they now have resistance to physical damage and can't cast spells because you're irritating. So I'm going to give you two options for the end of this, and I will let you decide how you want to do it. I don't think I worded that right. Hold on. That's a taunt or mark in early editions, I think 4E. Yeah, taunting has never really been like what you'd expect taunt or aggro to really be. But that's the closest that we have. So I'll do it as a plural. Creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on attack rolls made against creatures other than you. So, Jake, this is ripped directly from the 2014 Barbarian Ancestral Protector's feat. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. We can make it all creatures within 10 feet of you have disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. Why not both? Advantage against you, disadvantage against not you. I mean, technically you could, G-Unit. Absolutely. On attack rolls, not made against you. That feels cleaner. Thanks for the follow, Cat Thug Games. So Annie, I'd say the two options that you have are either you go with just the general, like, these are the two options. I mean, you're welcome to do however you want. Of course, this is your thing. But these are the two options that I would recommend. One of them, this is the generic, like, aggro mechanic that D&D has a precedent for. But if you choose this one, you wouldn't need the enemy who doesn't need to make a save. That thing just happens to them. This one, thanks for the follow, Jacqueline567. This one, the second one, would require a save, but the effect on that person is greater and also much funnier. Also, Cat Thug Games, you're echoing on TikTok. Again? God, I hate that fucking platform. I have been streaming on TikTok for several hours. And every night, it seems, once I hit a certain point, TikTok just starts echoing. Like there wasn't an echo earlier. Okay. He said we always go for funny in this house. So we'll keep the second one. Any creature that starts its turn or moves within starts a turn within 10 feet of you, or moves within 10 feet of you for the first time on its turn, must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, DC 17, or enter rage. So what kind of table are we creating here? Homebrew Wild Magic? It's sort of Wild Magic, but it's actually a Meatball Mayhem table. Oh, it was like that a bit ago. I just came to the YouTube. LOL. Well, in that case, I do not fucking know what's wrong with TikTok. It does that. There's no... I've looked. I know how to do this. There's no reason there should be an echo. And yet, every fucking time. And they wonder why none of the creators like using their platform. Hello. Welcome in. What are you making? We were doing some homebrew doctoring, so here to learn 5, as I know her, Annie. She has a D100 table of random magic meatball effects, and I do homebrew doctoring, so people send me their homebrew and $5 or $10, and then I help fix their homebrew. So that's what this one was. We are wrapping up here, though, because I am getting tired. Yeah. I think it's about that time. How many entries are you at, and what is Meatball Mayhem exactly? I don't know how many entries we have. We're in the 30s. And Annie, if you want to explain what the Meatball Mayhem thing is. Because it is your thing. Is this some kind of homebrew subclass? No, it's like a tournament. It's a collaborative tournament for D&D. And there's a meteor shower. Let's see. Doodle is on doing some music, and then Who is Chelsea is also still on playing some Fortnite. Is there links to the crafting stuff you're doing? I'm so hyped for that. Yes, Jake. Let me pop that in the YouTube chat. YouTube chat. Okay, there's that. And we are going to raid. Let's raid Doodle doing some music. Everyone go ahead and hop in this raid. If you're on YouTube, you cannot hop in the raid, obviously. But if you'd like to hop on over to Twitch real quick and then hop in the raid, you can. McDoodle, if you don't know, she's a good friend of mine. She's an incredible musician. All of her streams are just kind of her playing music and then maniacally reading the chat, basically. You can recommend songs for her to play. She does saxophone, guitar, ocarina, ukulele, and singing and stuff. Also, yes, Serene W Doodle. Dubs the Doodle. The raid call is going to be Beans. Yep, Beans. All right. If hold on, let me see. If you're watching on TikTok, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to sleep. You guys are great. Good night. If you're watching on YouTube, you won't be able to raid. But if you're on Twitch, you're about to raid now. So make sure you hop in there and just yell Beans.